all. Welcome to our monthly webinar releases where we kind of go over what has been released in the past month. We have people actively joining into the meeting. If you have anything in particular you'd like to take a look at today, we may have some time, maybe in the middle. If we're looking at some certain areas, we may be able to answer a few questions. If you have some questions or maybe some feature that you've seen in the system that you want to learn more about, feel free to throw that into the Q&A or into the chat down there at the bottom. We're going to wait just maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, maybe to the end of our music segment, and let people jump in. But feel free to get started. Throw in some chats, throw in some questions, anything that you may want to see. We do have a full list of items to talk about today, which is really exciting. All right. Well, we're going to jump in. Welcome to our monthly product release, recently released features webinar. I really love doing this. I feel it's so cool to be able to share all of these new features that all of our team is working on. I'm Shannon. I work in customer success here at Curate, and we have Brooklyn with us, tried and true Brooklyn, who's on our product team. She plays a big impact on the features that are actually kind of go into production. They're actually being built and setting up that timeline so that we can just get maximum impact for what we're working on the back end. Just a quick reminder, just a reminder that for development here at Curate, the stuff that we build is based on what our customers are telling us. So we build what the people want is was the way that I normally say it. So if you have suggestions, if you have things that you want to see in the system, please do let us know. We have a link where you can submit any sort of feedback in the system. You can even upvote other features. Maybe Brooklyn, could you grab that the link or that they could use and we could throw it in chat. So then they can just have it handy even while we're talking together. But a lot of the features that we pull through are because people have upvoted them, people are talking to us about them, so that we can build towards your business and your needs for your business. All right. Brooklyn's going to grab that link so that you can go ahead and have it. You may even like pull it up while we're in our meeting and upvote a few things, which is really cool. The other thing of that is once something is released that you've upvoted or that you've suggested, you're going to get an email saying, hey, heads up, this feature has been released, so that you get a heads up whenever that item in particular is there. Yeah, if you see a feature while we're chatting, Brooklyn's going to grab that one. But if you see a feature while we're chatting that you really like, just let us know. We share that with our team for the people that are really responsible for building these things. And we'll send out a follow-up email with the recording if you want to keep that or share that with your team a little bit later. All right. I think I've said everything that I need to say. We've got, like I said, we've got several things that we've already got lined up to chat through today. I feel like we're constantly on the move here at Curate, so we've got a lot of things to talk about. Brooklyn's going to share her screen and she's going to lead the way today in showing off some of these features.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Everyone, if you notice in the chat, I did send out the link Shannon was just mentioning, so we'd love to hear your feedback. That gives you access to kind of see what's in motion and then also submit your ideas. So bookmark that link and can't wait to see what you guys submit. So to start us off, we're going to take a look at some bulk actions that we've implemented into the catalog. So let me share my screen and then I will get started here. Alrighty, so I should be sharing. So we're going to start here in the catalog, and an exciting update that we have now is with products and components. So there's some bulk actions that can be made here just to improve the way you organize your products and components, especially with those large updates. So I'm going to start off with showing off how this works with your products. So you'll just make sure you're on your products tab. This will showcase any of the products that you have in your account. And then you can multi-select them them. So I'm just going to go down. Let's take a look at these floral arrangements that I have for cocktail hour. I can multi-select them. You'll notice our bulk actions toolbar pops up at the bottom, and then you can hit the little pencil to then edit. This will open up a slide out, and then you have some options here. So you can reassign the branch if you have that on your account. If you have multiple locations, you can reassign the branch. You can change the pricing. You'll notice it says it's kind of uh, you know, grade in there, but you can keep it as is. So if you don't make a change, it'll just keep it as it is already in your catalog. You can update your markup profile by clicking in, dropping down, and seeing your options or creating a new one. You can also update that product category, which is really helpful when you're creating your event. So you can assign one that's already in your account, or again, create a new one within this slide out. You can also add tags, or you could override if there's already tags on these. So for this particular one, we can see they're all set at $75. I want to up that price. Let's say that they're now, we'll say they're $87. Let me add that in. Oops, too many zeros. $87. I want my markup profile to be floral. And then let's make sure that we have a floral category assigned to them. And then I can hit save, and then it will automatically update those for me there. Again, it just works in those particular areas where you can multi-select and bulk change them. The components is kind of a same flow, but a few different things that you can change around your components. So this is great again for large updates. I'm gonna go down. Let's take a look at, I have a lot of these anemone flowers here. So I'm gonna just select them all that I want, and then it'll tell me I have all 10 selected. We can see they're already assigned to floral. They're all kind of priced the same at $16.50 per 10 stems there. If I want to edit that, again, a slide out comes up. I can then switch out the component category if I wish, assign a new branch, or update that estimated cost detail. So that's going to be the cost per purchase unit.
Mhm.
So say that we want to update again the pricing here. I can say maybe these are $22. I can add some tags. So if I want to, I could add in, I'll just add myself. And then I can say we want to say that this is, flowers instead of florals or something. We could save this, and then the branch will stay the same. It'll update. We can kind of see that happen in real time. So just a super helpful kind of way to move faster through the system
Yeah.
and stay more organized. So yeah, that's some updates we have to the catalog with your products and your components. So hope everyone enjoys that. And then I'm going to pass it on to Shannon to cover a few more features.
Yeah. If anybody knows me, you know I'm a fan of tags. I always bring up tags in every conversation. Tags are so powerful. So I love that capability now that makes it really easy to select many items and add tags on there. So tag people use tags for all kinds of things, but for on the catering side, you may use it to say that this is a vegetarian item or this is a part of a certain package of things that we sell, part of the buffet offerings that we have. Or on the floral side, you may say for products, you may say like I do these things at a certain venue, or this is a personals item. I love tags, so that's just a quick way to manage your tags. I love that. All right, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to kind of flip focus here. So, one change that we have recently made is in regards to the calendar. Let me see if I can find a time that's got some events on here. Here's one right here. So, we now have the ability to change what the calendar color means for you. So, you can have your calendar to be the color of the event, or you can make your calendar reflect the color of the status of that event. So, for example, if you want to do it based on the event color, some things that I see people use the event color to represent is this a full service event, or is this a pickup? Or is this just a delivery and drop off sort of event? you can use that specific calendar colors to represent all of those. So then whenever you're looking at your calendar, you can quickly know what sort of event that's going to be. On the other hand, you can now set your calendar. I'm going to hop down to the settings. This is so you can see the color, but I'm going to hop down to the settings. On the other hand, now you can set your calendar color to be the status. This was highly requested where people wanted to see it based on where it is in its journey. So whenever you're looking at the calendar, you can see, oh yeah, this color means that it is booked. This color means that it's in production. This color means that I've only sent the proposal over to them. You can have that reflected here. The status comes into play with the pipeline down here. So if you didn't know, I think we've talked about it before, but if you didn't know, you can manage your pipeline on your dashboard that shows on your dashboard. Let me pop over to your dashboard so you can see what I'm talking about. But you have a pipeline right here on the dashboard. You can customize this pipeline for your business according to what is your flow. This is going to be for your forms and inquiries. This is going to be for your events. So we have colors associated with all of those in the system. So now you can set it up to where you can view the calendar based on the color of the status so that you can quickly just at a glance see like that one that we were looking at. I know that's booked because that's going to be our green color right there, right? Now, the other side of this, we actually have a new functionality that we've recently released. It is an add-on for your account. So if you're interested in learning more about it, let us know, but I'll kind of share with you where we are with that. It's called bookable spaces. So if you are a company that maybe you have certain rooms or a venue, different spaces at your venue, that you are managing whenever you're doing your events. I can think of 20 different examples just off the top of my head right here. But if that's you, we now have something called bookable spaces where you can have the different venues that you have in your company. Right here, we've got a couple of examples, and you can assign these to events. So I'm going to hop over to my events to kind of show you how you can do that. If I click plus new event, you can include that here. You're going to have an extra drop down. If you have that add-on, you'll have an extra drop down to say which ones are being assigned to that. I can do that here. I can choose those in here. Um, Alternatively, you can also come back and add it later. You may not have made a decision, so you can come back and add it later. If I click on the little slide out to see the information about the event, and I go down here, you can see for Mackenzie's event, I do have the blue room as a bookable space. Her event will be held in the blue room. I can add those in here as well in the system. The other side of this that you have right now is whenever you're looking on your calendar, I know that Mackenzie's event is January 3rd, so I'm going to pop over to January 3rd to show this off. I can see, okay, I've got Mackenzie's event and I've got the San Diego event right here. It's on the same day, different times, but same day. Now I can put a filter, I can do a group by my bookable spaces. So it'll show me on the 3rd, what are the breakdown of my rooms. So I can see my blue room is going to be held by this San Diego event. And then I've got Mackenzie's Magical Wedding in there at 5 p.m. Banquet Hall they've got both of them for this event. Mackenzie's Magical Wedding only needs this one. So it just allows you to quickly see where are my rooms, what are the things that's going on with my rooms that I've got involved in my event. You can assign them to events. You can see that on your calendar. They're very handy. There will be more features that's coming with that bookable spaces, so just stay tuned for that. If you're interested in learning more or adding that, just let us know. It's just a handy way to manage your venues and your events. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna pass back to Brooklyn.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Yeah, exciting things coming with the bookable spaces, as Shannon mentioned. So we'd love to hear from you if you're interested in it.
Yes,
So
yes.
um, let me share again, and then I am going to actually start on the calendar view as well. So let me go here to our calendar. So another highly requested feature that we have in place now is an easier way to access your events directly from the calendar view. So if you prefer to kind of look at your events on this view rather than the event list view, the kind of on that main page, you can now access them by, let me find another event. So here in the account, if you are looking and there is a set time, you can now hover, and then if you see here, you can click into it and it'll take you directly into that space. So you can go right into the workroom without having to kind of navigate the hover card. So just reduce a step there. You can just click and access as an option. You'll also notice if it is like marked either as an all-day event or, it's just kind of doesn't have necessarily set times, those events pop up at the very top. So as you hover one of these events, the workroom button kind of populates as well. And it's the same concept. You just click and takes you right in. So yeah, just a time saver there as you like to navigate the calendar, just to kind of enhance that around the hover card. So um, exciting things there with the calendar. And then we also have, now that we're on the event list view, there's an update where we've made it easier with using our duplicate event feature. So if you like utilizing duplicate events, we now have it like an autofill feature that's going to pull over event name, branch, customer, the calendar color, venue, guest count, all the important key details for you. So let's look at Jesse and Sam's wedding here. If I want to duplicate this and I go over and I hit duplicate, the slide out will come pre-populated with all of those key points from the original event. So you can still, of course, go in and adjust and switch out anything if you choose to change it on this new event slide out, but it will just kind of save you time. It's still keeping things flexible. It's carrying over that relevant information. So it's just gonna save you some steps there as well.
That's great. Yeah.
And then another view that I'm just covering all the views. Another view that's exciting is the portal view. So an update that we've made there, also a big requested feature is being able to share the portal link view without pricing details. So that is now available. Let me find the event that I wanted to click into. So if I am in the event and you are going to share, if you haven't come across this already, when you go up to share, there's now two options for you. You can share the portal as it has been with all the pricing details, but you can now also share the portal without pricing. So this is just really helpful. We know a lot of folks like to share their proposal and event details with, possible vendors or other clients or coordinators that, don't need to be involved in kind of the true invoice and pricing of the event. So you now have both options. If you select to share the portal, it will include all the pricing details as you're used to. So it'll break it down. It'll go through grand totals and payments. If you do select to share the portal without pricing details, it just incorporates all the main important things that you want to share around the aesthetics and the details, the timelines, inspiration boards. But when it gets down to the orders and payment sections, it's going to remove any of those pricing areas for you so that it's all kind of more private, depending on who you want to share it with. So yeah, an update to kind of how the portal looks there with that view as well. Definitely a highly requested one, so we're excited that that's available now. And then one more area that I want to touch on before I hand it back to Shannon is let me actually click back into this event actually. So one thing that we've touched on in the past is the timelines and being able to create internal timeline items. So now we have those internal timeline items on your event print. So if you want to pull an event print for this particular event, going to go here to view those prints. You'll notice on the event overview that it now combines both the client-facing timeline items and then also the internal ones have the little eye icon. So those are just your internal timeline items, but they're going to be available now on the print for you just to make it easier to reference any important task or notes that you all have made for your team, just to stay organized and aligned when you're printing these off. So, and then you can choose to check mark if you want them on the print, of course, as you all are probably aware of all the different options that you have over on the side panel, to check off what you want visible or not to kind of make that custom view. So yeah, some exciting updates that we've made around some visibility pieces there, and to save some time and reduce some steps. So I will pass it back to Shannon and she'll cover a few more.
Okay, share my screen again. Perfect. Okay. Let me pull mine back up over here. Okay. So I have some that are really specific to the workroom. So I'm going to jump into Mackenzie's Magical Wedding here. And I'm going to go over to the orders. So we made some changes in the recipe that we want to show off. So I'm going to hop over to the recipe view. So this is a blended event. It's like floral and catering together. Um, I'm going to look at like on the floral side. It could also apply for the catering though. So the first one is something that has been requested. It seems to be very specific. It's not widely requested, but the people that need it, they like live and die by it. The thing to note for that one is that now you can have something, you can have a recipe quantity of 0. In the past, you could not, it would automatically flip to 1, but now you can have a recipe quantity of 0 in your line items. A common example that I hear for this is if you need to build a boutonniere, you're really just using the scraps from other things that were being built there. And so you know these are the things that are going to go into it, but you don't actually want to contribute to your orders with that item. Now you can have a quantity of 0 to support that workflow in the system. So you can have a quantity of 0 in the system. Sorry, my thing is getting away with me here. You can have a quantity of 0 in the system. The other thing that we have done here in regards to the components is we've included an undo button. So now if I click the trash can right here, it is going to trash. I don't have to confirm, but I'm going to have this ability for 5 seconds to come over here and click undo and restore that item. So let me do that again. I'm going to click a delete on that rose. I had 2 of them, but I'm going to click undo, and now that is going to be reinstated right there into the recipe. So it's just a 5 second, gives you a little out. If you're accidentally pressing the wrong button or something like that, you can click undo and retrieve that button back again. The other thing that is new since last time, I feel like it's not new really, but it is new since the last time that we've done this meeting. You can now manage your images here from the recipe view. You've got your drag and drop. You can add, remove your images all from right here on that recipe view in the system. Just makes it super easy. Um, we'll jump down to oh, just this update on this right here. Down here, we also made an update into the view of like the markups. We got a lot of feedback about how those appeared in the system. So we did collapse those markups, and you can do the breakdown here if you want to see more or dig more into those markups. But we did an updated look on that markup section just to make it a little bit easier to see and kind of manage in the system. So that's going to be there. Then I'm going to hop back over to the orders and let's look at percentage line items, so those calculated properties. So in this event, I did set up a calculated property. If you're unfamiliar with calculated properties, they're going to live over here in this slide out. I've got a lot of calculated properties, but I'm just going to live in this slide out. I'm doing this one with the setup fee right now. I have it integrated right here into my line item. I've got it integrated in there. One update that we have recently done that if you do click in here to get rid of that, if you want to enter that manually, you can. I can just go click to enter manually, and it will maintain that number. You're not losing the number that lived there. So it could be you reach a point where you say, okay, well, we're not going to, even if we add something, we're not going to include it on the fees or whatever. You can just collapse that number and it's just going to be a solid number. It's not going to be a reflexive number anymore. That's going to be right there in the system, right? Last thing for me to show here, I've got some screenshots actually because I can figure out a way to show it to you live, but you will realize it whenever you're doing it. Now, as you know, in Curate Payments, we accept ACH. If you're signed up for Curate Payments, you can process payments via ACH, which is huge. It's such a big feature. We're so excited that now we are able to offer that. One update to that feature is that now, whenever a payment is processed, it will show as pending when it is with ACH. It does take a little bit for that um, to finalize on there so that you'll be able to see that, your customer will be able to see that, and you will be able to see that in the workroom that that payment is pending for that ACH so that you realize that payment is coming for that line item. It will also show, it's going to have that amount there, and it is not going to factor into the calculations until it's processed. So it's not going to be finalized. It's not going to be final paid and show, it's going to show that change right there on the balance due, but it will show that to you so that you realize that payment is still in progress of being processed right there. Okay. I see we got a couple questions, so maybe let me see what our questions are really quickly. Ooh. Perfect. Um, okay, some questions. Quantity feature in our products. Okay, perfect. Okay. So for some of these, I'm going to leave, we're going to come back to some of these at the end. But for Gay, you said, how do you sign up for ACH? For this one, you would just do it through Curate Payment. So I'm going to flip back here. I'm going to jump down to settings and then go to payments, and you'll just set up with Curate Payments right here. Let me go to a better one. You'll be able to look at Curate Payments right here. So I can delete this integration actually, but it'll look like this. You'll just click connect on Curate Payments. That'll allow via ACH and we'll pass those card fees along to your customer. Yep. Okay. All right, awesome. Okay, these are really good questions. So we will come back and we're going to look at the other questions that were submitted. Um, we're just going to walk through a few more, and then we're going to round back and hit those questions. So I will stop sharing and pass off to Brooklyn. Such good questions, honestly. These are really good. I love
Yeah,
it.
there's only a few things I want to share here, so we'll kind of cruise through the last bit of features so that we allow enough time to answer those questions. Let me go ahead and share again, and then we're kind of going to circle back to the theme of some bulk actions. So an exciting update that we've made to our media library is also going to be around a multi-select and bulk action. So you can access the media library right from your main page by clicking this little file folder up at the top, or if you're, of course, already in an event, you can access your media library within that workroom as you go to select images. So I'm going to click here to access our media library, and then I can now multi-select just to better organize, help make things faster, easier, clean things up. So you have a few different options. I added this one a few times just so that we could show off a cleanup. So if you have duplicative images, or you accidentally added too many, or you no longer need them, I can select those that I no longer need. You'll see down here at the bottom of this little toolbar, I can delete. It'll show you how many. It will kind of confirm just to make sure that you do actually want to delete those. So I can go ahead and confirm those files. So you can bulk delete those out as you select. You can also move these to folders to kind of clean things up as well. So I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna select all of these floral photos that I like that are kind of blue and orange, and I'm gonna move those to a folder. So You have two options. You can either add a brand new folder or you can choose to select a folder. The select folder gives you the options of what's already in your account. So I'm going to just add those to a current folder that I have. Let's just add those to retro wedding. I'm going to confirm, and then it will move those 6 images. It's told me this over here on the side that I have those. And then now you can see that they've been kind of cleared from my main folder. So just a way to quickly organize, make those edits. Um, you can also, if you're not aware, you can kind of create folders within a folder. So it allows you to move, those images into where you kind of need them and want them to clean things up. So yeah, exciting bulk edits now available in Media Library. And then the last little piece I wanted to touch on is going to be around forms and your inquiries. So we've updated the process of being able to convert the inquiry, rather just an enhancement. But this now moves to a slide out. So if I am viewing this new inquiry in my forms folder here, and I want to convert and move this into an actionable event, this is going to pop out a slide out, and then I can go forward
Yes.
just to
Yes.
fill
Love
this
this.
out. So it's just it used to be kind of a separate pop-up.
Yeah.
So now it's just a more unified experience. Just allows you to kind of go in and you can still access everything as before. It's still the same structure as far as the inputs and being able to convert and pull that into a new event. It's just now a slide out. And then it also doesn't really block your view because it used to kind of be that pop-up. So you can now reference your notes or what you need here, and then you'd be able to move it right along. So
That's great.
yeah, just an update there. And then I think that does it for me. So I will let us use the rest of the time to cover those questions. Thanks for chatting in, and we will take a look at how we can help.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you do have some more questions, we've got a couple of questions to kind of walk through together. Feel free to throw them in chat or throw them in the Q&A. We'll take a look. Or if you have any features that you just want to get an update on, that is going to be our new features. So if you do need a hop, you're totally fine to hop. And we'll send out a recording a little bit later of the call, send out a follow-up email on the call. So feel free to hop if you don't have any questions or whatever, but we will look at the questions that were submitted, which is really good. And feel free to submit more. We'll get started. I'm going to share my screen to start with. Okay. Melinda asked, can we block out dates on the calendar? Right now, you are not able to block out dates on the calendar necessarily. So right now, you would want to do that with another system or just knowledge of knowing what cannot be here. That would be one thing that I would say submit that on that thing that we shared earlier, on that link that we sent out earlier. Submit that. We haven't had as many people talking to us about that as what I thought would. So if that is something that's important to you, definitely submit that there or check if somebody else has and you can upvote theirs so that we can get some traction on that one if people are really wanting that for us to be able to implement that. And then you asked, can I add documents into event proposals? And that answer is yes. Go ahead, Melinda, if you want to just throw it in the chat, right there. I'll keep a watch out for that one. But for the documents, let me find just one that can use it as a good example. If I hop over to Mackenzie's Magical Wedding right there, you can add the documents in here. If you came over from Curate Classic, if you were a Curate Classic customer and you came over to the updated interface, that if you didn't have anything in that documents section in Curate Classic, when the event came over, the document section wouldn't be there. But we do have a document section. If it doesn't exist on that proposal, just click right here where it says add content, and then you can get that documents that you can add it to the proposal. In this case, um, we just have it toggled off, so I'm going to toggle it on. And this is where I can upload any documents that I want to show to my customer. Okay. The other one, um, Kim, you may have to tell me a little bit more. She said we use the quantity feature in our products. Will that be a feature? You may have to tell me a little bit more there what you're thinking on that one. Just give us an update on that one. Um, yeah, just tell us a little bit more on that one. Um, so for Chloe and Julie, you said, I would love some more clarity on the product categories versus component categories. Often our products include multiple components. This example, that's so true. So we have all of them properly labeled, but we're unable to properly categorize or process. Therefore, when we run reports, many of the lines are just zeroed out. So I will say that we have just seen that there is a bug with the reports to where, for some reason, sometimes they calculate correctly and sometimes they don't. So just know that that one is already in the pipeline, is being worked on. So you're going to see that kind of come to pass pretty soon. But for your line item categories, you would just do that here in the event. You can even do it in bulk. This is one of those bulk action things. So if I'm changing things in bulk across these, I can choose many items. If I want to do that, I can click edit, um, and change the category that belongs in. We have a lot of random categories here for this test account. But anything that I may want to change that to, I can do that in bulk. And pretty soon, once we have that little bug fixed where for some reason they're not calculating correctly, it's not adding them up correctly on the report, you'll be able to see the totals for anything that's in that category. You'll be able to pull that on that report. So it is a really good thing. So that's how you would do that if you're changing the categories of those items. And if you want to change them in the product catalog, you just follow what Brooklyn was showing earlier, where you jump into the catalog. Yeah. Um, for the Chloe, I can't like if you want to throw it into the chat or whatever, I'll keep an eye out, or to the question thing, it doesn't matter. I'll keep an eye out for your follow up there so that we can answer that. Um, it looks like Gay said it looks like under calendar, our weddings don't automatically show up unless I click on the date. They should show up. So, Gay, I may need to just jump into your account a little bit later and just see. But yeah, your events should all just be here. If they have a time on them, they will show for that time. But then if you've got like a full day event or something like that, that would nest here at the top like this one. That's like a Julie and David one right there. So I may have to look into yours just a little bit. Kim, you asked my template that was saved and the old Curate transferred over as an event, which is true. However, the template isn't showing up in the template section. No, this isn't something to be worried about. Whenever you create a new event, you can just use that same template, click plus new event. You'll be able to search the word template and you'll be able to use that as your starting place. So it's not really anything to be worried about. Good question. Good question. On the Alex, you asked about the gratuity. I'm gonna leave that to actually, I'm gonna pass to Brooklyn for that one. Do you have an ET on the gratuity, Brooklyn?
Sure. Yeah, we're looking at end of the month. So we're still kind of, our team is working on developing it. We kind of had to split it up into some different phases to work through the infrastructure things first. But we should still be on track. Goal is by end of month. So I know that's definitely a high requested feature.
Yeah.
So we will keep everyone in the loop once it's available.
Mhm.
So hopefully next month when we meet, we'll have some gratuity options that we can show off here. But
Mhm.
it's definitely our one of our top priorities for everyone. We know it would be a big help. So it's in the works.
Yeah, that's a good question. I know we've already done pieces towards that, so it is in progress or whatever. Um, let me jump down to what Chloe said for the categories that we're talking about. Um, pull all of the ingredients right so we can see breakdown how much we're spending on florals versus rentals versus hard goods. Yeah, the for those line items, you do have a line item category, but then you also have an ingredient category. And we have had feedback about how they're both called a category. They don't want them both to be called a category. But yeah, that breakdown, that events breakdown would show like your products. So generally in those situations, I just say do it to mostly what it is. You can always break it apart if it really is you really want to see that very intrinsic breakdown of where that revenue is coming from. You could split up the line items if you want to, but put the category on there that is most true for that line item, whatever that may be, for that line item. Let me see. Janice said, can I move photos around in the line items without using the arrows by just grabbing them or not yet? I don't know. Let's look. I think that you can just grab them if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, that should be the case. A little,
Yeah,
like, claw hand will come up, when you grab
yeah,
it.
those little dots. Let me just add some more, or let me go to a line item that's got more photos, maybe. These all just have one. But yeah, so let me add an additional photo here. But yeah, you should be able to freely rearrange the photos on the line item um, by just dragging them just kind of like that. Just you can freely drag them around. And you can do that in the order view as well if that's where you're managing them from. Right, I'm going to delete this one, delete this one. Okay. Can photos be internal versus client facing it? That's a great question. So these photos, I don't know what photos specifically you're talking about, Alex, but for line item photos, if the line item is visible to the customer, those photos are going to be visible to your customer. Like if the line item, the photos associated with it will. However, we do have this new line item type that I know we've talked about before, but I feel like I just keep finding more excuses to talk about. It's called an internal line item. And that is something that is just shows for you and for your team. So if you have some photos that just your team needs to see and you want those to pull to your prints or whatever, you can load those into that internal line item. Super common examples for things that people would do in the internal line item is going to be like a ladder or a cart or certain just pieces, a shelf, anything that you may need to make it to that event. That would be an internal line item. It's pretty people also talk about loading photos in there that are only for their team and not for the customer. Um, Amy, I don't know that anybody's else been talking about that. So go into trouble when you go to share an event, it's like download a PDF. Um, yeah, you should be able to just share and then download it, and then mine just pops up here on my screen. I haven't heard of anybody else yes, if you want to, Amy, just send it over to us in support. Send it over in the support chat or whatever so that we can take a look at it. Kim noted we have our products labeled specifically to the venue. So we have a product saved for quantity of 3 pillow draping. So the product would be, okay. I didn't know that this was a feature in Curate Classic where you can have a specific quantity on a product and then pull that in. Yeah, I haven't seen that before. So for right now, whenever it will just pull in a quantity of 1 on your line item. Um, but if that's something that you did use, for sure you can submit that. In the recipes will have the same quantity in there. But for the actual product, I would say submit that to that thing that we sent out earlier. That would be really helpful. Okay. Alex, for what you're saying, the calendar is jumping to the current time for the current day. So when we want to see events earlier in the day for a future day, the calendar jumps. Can we turn that off? Let me see. So like you're talking about like this, how it's gonna center on this red line, and you're saying, I want to see stuff that's a little bit earlier in the day. Yeah, you can't turn that off right now, but that's a good one too. Definitely submit that. Tell us a little bit more, like, for me, I can just see, okay, I can scroll up and see more, so it doesn't seem, but maybe take a video of your experience so that we can see what you're experiencing and pass it over to us. Mm, let me see. Dana said, "Oh, we are at time. I'm sorry, y'all. We are at 12:44 for us. So I see that Dana has one, Chloe and Julie put one in. Um, Jana, okay, that's awesome. Glad we got that. And then, yes, Jeannie, quick answer. When creating a new section, we'll be able to drag and position. Right now, you do just move it up that like what you're talking about. That's another one that I was just talking to somebody else about today. So I would put that in there because we're trying to get some feedback on that one. Okay. Um, All right, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do some follow up. We'll do some follow up for you guys. And for the ones, I know there was some stuff that we didn't have time to answer, but that's okay. We'll send you a follow up email and then we can assist with that. We know it's a lot, there's a lot to do in Curate. There's a lot that you can work on and whatever. So we want to definitely want to help. So feel free to, if you have one that's just like a request, it's not something that's currently there, the best thing is just to submit it in that form, that link, so that whenever it's fulfilled, you'll get an email and say, "Hey, heads up, this new feature is ready for you." But for other stuff that's more like support, like how do I do this thing? I'm going to send you guys a follow-up email, and we'll get you connected with support so that we can make sure to answer those questions. Okay. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you a lot. You're a big part of what we're doing every single day. You're the ones that driving this actual webinar to for what we build and release all the time. So we'll send out a quick follow-up email, and for those that had questions that we weren't able to answer yet, just we'll follow up with you there too. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Bye.
great day.